Well, good morning, Southern Oregon. Alice Lema here, broker John L. Scott, here with our market update of what's been going on. I think we're 7 weeks after the fires. We've got many people temporarily settled, at least. We still have a handful of people this week and next week that are supposed to get their insurance checks. But for the most part, everybody has a plan and is implementing their plan. May not be a permanent plan, but at least they've got something. So when people lose their homes in a disaster, whether it's flood, fire, hurricane, earthquake, there's several phases. And I just want to take a minute to touch on this because the first phase is just getting somebody into some temporary housing, getting in touch with their insurance and getting that strategy in motion. And there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of phone calls. It's like having a part-time job. And if you still have a job during that, it's even more stressful and challenging. But just because they have a place to go temporarily doesn't mean that they're set and made whole again. And sometimes that takes a year because they're either rebuilding or they've got to get to a different kind of occupation because their company burned down as well. We had a lot of that, in the Talent Phoenix area. A lot of businesses were lost too. So people are kind of scrambling around. And I just kind of want to point out that this happens in phases. And then, we have the holidays coming up, and I think that's going to be hard for a lot of people because they don't have their home or they're in somebody else's home. So just want to remind everybody, just because it's a couple of months behind us, it's not over, and emotionally people are going to need more time to heal, especially if they're going to have another year in front of them because they still don't have their permanent home. So just want to let folks know as the process unfolds over the holidays, if you need help, if you've got more ideas, if you have permanent housing to offer, we still want you to reach out. You can reach out to me. There's the community organizations, and we're still going to have to keep people going through the second phase and the final phase of recovering from this disaster. Okay, so I wanted to just start with that. In the meantime, what a wild real estate market we have. Oh my gosh, we've got some stats for you. We're starting to get a few more listings. The back on markets are still pretty high. Each county is going through its own cycle. Each county has its own price point. And interestingly enough, the COVID relocators, the people coming from the urban areas, that is still really strong. We still have a lot of cash buyers out there competing for properties, but we also have another wave of what I call the relocators who were in the wait and see category. We had a big bunch of people who moved here to Southern Oregon right when the shutdown orders came because of the COVID. Now we have people that either needed some time to kind of get themselves organized, they needed time to pick where they were going, because there's lists online now. You can see people are going online and they're finding these lists of different places you can live if you can be a remote worker. And you don't necessarily have to be a tech worker, but if you can take your job with you, then all of a sudden you've got all these options. We've been talking about this for weeks, right? So we've been talking about even some of our local people are setting up a different kind of housing situation because they can work from home. They don't have to live in Medford. They don't have to live in Ashland. They can live somewhere else, and they are. And it's very interesting, the thought process. So if you are somebody who is undergoing this kind of transformation, I'd love for you to reach out to me. We're just kind of tracking the thought process. We're doing some interviews with some families and some individuals that are doing this so that we can let the general public know if you're having these thoughts, this is how somebody else is doing it and what worked for them. And it's just all fascinating. And then there's the schooling. So we have a lot of properties that we cannot show during the day because the kids are still home, the parents are at work, the kids are at home doing their online schooling. And so because they don't have an adult present, they won't let us show the house. So here we have family situation trying to navigate the sale of a property and the shutdown of the schools or the personal choice of the families to not send their kids to school. So there's a lot of moving parts to all this, but it really is fascinating what people are choosing and not choosing to do and how they're taking care of their own family needs and their own occupational needs during these interesting times. So in the meantime, if you are undergoing or considering undergoing one of those changes or just finished going through one of those changes, please reach out to me either on Facebook or email or text. My number is 541-301-7980 because we are starting to document some of this grassroots movement about how people are getting set for the next couple of years. In the meantime, in Southern Oregon, we are still selling a lot of houses. We don't have as many houses on the market. We did have in Jackson County this week 118 new listings. We had in Josephine County 57 and in Klamath County 49. So we still need more, and I know it's hard to get things done right now because of the COVID and the fires and the this and the that, but I want to tell you, if you want me to help you with your house and you need to be online in as little as 1 or 2 weeks, it can be done. It's hard, but we can do it. We like to have either a full 2 weeks, especially if there's some repairs or some cleaning or something like that to be done. It just takes time, and it's hard to hire people right now because so many of the workers either lost their house and they're still trying to figure out their day-to-day stuff, or they're working for the harvest in the hemp fields. We have a lot of that. I mean, speaking of which, a little digression, try to get a U-Haul truck. There's some number of those trucks that have been rented out to the harvest people in the hemp and cannabis, the 20-foot trucks. Did you know that it's really hard to get a U-Haul truck right now because they're loading them in the fields and then taking them to the processing or wherever they go, wherever the hemp and cannabis stuff goes. So we have so much demand on our trucks right now and our moving crews. So we have Patty and John, some folks that just sold a house and are buying a house. Their escrow got delayed. It created quite a problem. And again, I warn people every week, please have some squish in your moving schedule. And if you go on my Facebook, we posted a little video about Sam's Moving Company that came to our rescue, and we really liked them. They were together, they were calm, they were on time, they were organized, and we did a little video with them, not only acknowledging their help, but they had some real practical tips. And Patty and John were great about their packing. They wrapped all their stuff in plastic, and the movers loved it, except they don't want you to wrap plastic around the mattresses because they stick together. Anyway, it's a fascinating couple of minutes, and it would really help if you liked it or forwarded it because we'd like to send some more business to Sam's Moving. However, we still want them to take our calls. So yeah, let's send them some love, but also remember Sam's Moving. We want you to still help us because we're going to need it. We sure have a lot of people moving. So we have lots and lots of demand for the moving trucks and the crews, and it's hard to find somebody. A lot of the crews are actually gone back into construction. They're helping with the fire restoration, or they lost a house. So anyway, if you're moving right now and you're going through some pain, let me know if we can help, or let me know your story. And if you want to be interviewed on our educational YouTube channel, I'm getting a lot of really great content prepared for Southern Oregon specific housing and moving and history, and it's really good. But yeah, please keep us informed what's going on with you. And if you are moving and you're having trouble getting a truck or a crew, call Sam's Moving. But mostly, give yourself some squish. Do not try to move on the close of escrow day. Give yourself a few days extra because, and it's not anybody's fault, but a lot of these delays have to do with people are still working remotely. Escrow people are delayed. They're overworked. The lenders are overworked. There might be last minute items requested from a lender because of the emergency order for the COVID or the fire, or the insurance company wants somebody to run out and photograph the house inside and out again, like right this second, or we won't close. It's just, oh, there's just a lot going on. So we just want to start having people give more time. If you're trying to get in for the holidays, there's still time. It's October 23rd. Theoretically, we could close if we had all of our ducks in a row right before Thanksgiving, or at least before Christmas for sure. So if that is your hope and dream, let us know, because we can still accommodate that. We're also, because of the low inventory, I'm doing a pretty good job of finding off-market properties. We just closed a couple of them. I've got a couple more. And how this works is I have people that are willing to sell their house for whatever reason, don't want to go on the market, or they don't want to go on the market right now. But a lot of times I can get permission to at least show, and if we have an appropriate buyer, then we could put something together right now. Otherwise, it's going to happen in the future through the normal channels of MLS. So if you are in the market and struggling to find a property, let me know. We have lists. We can probably hook you up with somebody. And if we can't, I've been pretty good about getting out in the field, talking to people, meeting strangers. It's one of my favorite things to do, is just ask somebody, like, will you sell us your house? And sometimes they say yes. So don't be afraid to bring that up. It's not the impossible dream. This week, going back to our stats, even though Jackson County had 118 new listings, I want to bring up the back on market, because nobody's talking about this still. Jackson County, 27 properties came back on the market the same week we had 118 new listings. So at least we had 118 new listings. We're super happy about that. But also, you got to start watching these back on markets. When somebody goes into escrow too fast, a lot of times the buyers get cold feet and change their mind. So if you're not writing backup offers, start writing backup offers, because it is a great opportunity. And if you're a seller, be careful. Be careful about which offer you take, because you do not want to be off market for a week or so and then have it go back because the buyer changed their mind. Okay? And if you have not had your inspection and repairs done ahead of time, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. So, this is me on that soapbox again. Okay, so Jackson County, 118 new listings, 27 back on market. We had 181 closings in Jackson County. So this is a downward spiral. This is going to be problematic if we don't get more people on the market. And I know people are worried about, I don't want to put my house on the market if I don't have a place to go. But again, I have had great success this summer and this fall doing contingency listings. So you list your house with the contingency to find another one, and lining you up with a buyer that can accommodate that. And on the buyer side, if you can accommodate a seller's timeline, give them that flexibility to find another place, you will go to the top of their list in a multi-offer situation. So if you're thinking of selling, the reason you want to right now, low interest rates are good for the sellers as well. We're still closing houses below 3%. And if you're a seller, then you want the most buyers possible. This is a great opportunity. It's one of those rare moments in real estate where it's good for the seller and it's good for the buyer. So think about that. If you have ever wanted to move, this is a great time. And if you're worried about finding a place to go, we'll find you something, and we'll find a buyer that we can match with you that will accommodate that. So don't let that part stress you out, okay? But we really do need more, because Jackson County, we closed 181 properties. We listed 118, and we had 27 back on market. That's not good math, right? So, but let's talk about Klamath and Josephine County, because I just love what's going on there. Klamath County had 49 new listings. Klamath County closed 40. Klamath County had 13 back on market. So again, kind of interesting ratios. Klamath County new listings 49, closed 40, and 13 back on market. Josephine County 57 new listings, kind of similar to Klamath. Josephine County had 57 new listings. Josephine County closed 40, and a couple of them were mine. And Josephine had 9 back on market. So the back on markets are ever so slightly lower, but they're still in that kind of what I would call worrisome zone of that 20% to 30%. We just, like a lower percentage, a lower ratio of back on market compared to what's gone pending and new listings, just because, well, we like people to be making their decisions with some amount of measure and time. And right now the market's just so fast, it's just hard to do that. So I want to reach out to some of our first-time buyers, our downsizers, and the tenant population that's entering into the market for the first-time home buyers, that Jackson County, Josephine County, under $300,000 range is, you got to really fight hard. And we had a couple of situations this week where writing cash offers way over asking with an escalator clause, still losing. 9 offers, 17 offers, these lower end, not lower end, but lower priced houses, if they're financeable at all. So if you live in one of those cottages or smaller homes in Jackson or Josephine County, and you have some equity and you want to get the next kind of property, or you want to go into maybe buying, taking your house and buying a multifamily, you're going to live in the multifamily, boy, you can just have the buyer of your dreams right now, because everybody wants those houses. But again, we got to make sure you have a place to go. And if you're in the fight of a lifetime for one of those 300 and under, and you're losing, keep the faith. I still say there's more properties coming. We've got a lot of our fire victims, fire survivors kind of settled, at least temporarily. So I think their rush into the market is going to subside. So here we are, October 23rd, end of October. I'm really predicting in the next 2 or 3 weeks it's going to settle down. We're going to have some more listings come, and there's not going to be so much fervor. You know, it's not going to feel so panicky for the buyers. And if you're a seller, I still think you're going to have a strong winter. So don't let the weather stop you. There's still a backlog of buyers out there. We still have low interest rates, and we still have some good numbers. You know, we're talking about our stats here for the week. With Klamath County having 49 new listings and 13 back on market and 40 closings, there's still a lot of transactions happening. So yes, it's a different kind of market, but we figured it out. We figured out how to sell, buy and sell property in Southern Oregon in a worldwide pandemic and raging wildfires. So yes, it's a thing, but it's going to be fine, and we just have to stick with it, and we have to be creative. But we're doing that, and making contact with people that are not on the market has been super, super important all summer and fall, and I continue to do that constantly, just about every single day. And then if you have friends or family that are thinking of selling, just have them call me. We can talk about it. I can come over. It's no pressure. You know me. I'm very educational oriented, and I'm very into people making a decision with some calm and some rationale, and then executing their plan. So there's no pressure involved, and we can always figure out what's going to be in your best interest and figure out the timing. So the last thing I want to say is the buyers seem to be, even though a lot of them are scrambling and writing these overpriced offers, we seem to have hit kind of a threshold this week where a lot of my buyers, even in the upper price ranges, have just had enough. So I'm dubbing it buyer's revolt. Buyer's revolt, what I call, is where they've just gotten to a place in the market where en masse, they're kind of going, I'm not going to play these games anymore. There's still houses coming on the market. I'm not going to give you what you want. Or if you do come into a contract, they're breaking it. Like I had a $600,000 cash buyer, full price offer, and the owner wouldn't take it because they thought they'd wait 3 days to see if they got another deal. The buyers were furious. Well, overnight, I guess the seller panicked and decided to take our offer. Nope, the buyer won't go for it. They're so mad. They're so mad and insulted that that's how it went down. They won't deal with this particular seller's house out of principle. So I think that is the beginning of a change in our market. And it's not just that particular situation. I've got several other people that have been writing offers, really good offers, and they're just looking at the properties and going, that's not worth it. That's not worth it. I'm only going to go this high. I'm going to find something else. And you know what? They do. So again, if you're a seller, you got to be careful. You got to be in the right price zone to get it done so that you can go on with your life. You know, you don't want to be 30% over market just because you think somebody's going to give that to you. And even if they do, what if it doesn't appraise? We have a situation right now. There's a luxury home that is in escrow, and the appraisal came back. Hold on to your hat, folks. Hold on to something. The appraisal was low by $250,000. The appraisal came in low, $250,000. That's huge. That's just a huge amount of money. I don't care where you're from. It's a huge amount of money. So that's a big rural property. It's a big luxury home. We also have stuff in town that's coming in anywhere from $3,000 under to $30,000 under. So the appraisals are all over the place right now. But again, that's why I think we're in another transition. I think we're coming out of this fire spike. I think we're going to settle down. I think it's going to be a very active winter. You know, a lot of our winters are pretty slow in the housing market in Southern Oregon. I don't think so. I think it's going to be busy. So if you're out there contemplating a move, you want your dream home, you want out of your dream home and you want something smaller, you know, call me. Let's get it done. We still have some pretty good numbers. We still have some great interest rates. And we've learned how to manage with the COVID. So it's not a bad time. So let me know what's going on in your world. Check out my Facebook. I've got lots of educational stuff on both the business page and the personal. The personal is a little more quirky because it's my personal page, so I do just put weird stuff up. But that's, you know, part of the charm, right? Anyway, I'm working all weekend. If there's something you need, give me a call, give me a text, 541-301-7980. Otherwise, have a beautiful weekend. Hug everybody you love. Tell them you love them. Life is short, and we're lucky to live in Southern Oregon, and we're lucky to have who we have around us. So show some appreciation. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.